Hi there, and if you're one of the lucky people that managed to get in on the Black Friday Vinegar Syndrome sale that they did, it was freaking fantastic. They had some great Blu-rays, some great DVDs. The whole store was on sale. Now they have something coming up for New Year's, and when I come back right after these credits here, we're gonna look at some of them, uh, some thoughts of what I might get, and as you guys know, my New Year is the whole WTF time for movie collecting, and there's going to be a lot of exploitation stuff coming out of this channel when it comes to to the films. I'm very excited, so let's get to it and let's look at another great Vinegar Syndrome sale that I'm sure you guys are going to want to get in on. I'll be right back. So, Vinegar Syndrome already reduced their titles on the website. So if you haven't noticed that, then when you go into the Vinegar Syndrome website, you'll notice that the prices on a lot of the titles, actually pretty much all the titles, have been reduced. They're reduced by a bit, so that's kind of cool as it is. So when you go on there now, you can get a lot of the titles at a reduced rate, even though it's not on the Black Friday sale. They're still it's still lowered in price. Now here's the thing: on New Year's Day, on Sunday basically, what they're doing for one day and one day only is all of their DVD titles are going to be on sale for 30% off whatever that reduced price is now. So whatever the reduced price is, there's going to be 30% off of that price. So yeah, that's going to be pretty epic and pretty cool. Now, I know some people are going to be looking here and saying, well, it's DVD. Do I really want to get DVD? Now, here's the thing. Vinegar Syndrome puts out, by far and large, like everything that really honestly belongs and should be on blue, or that we think has the quality to be put on blue, onto Blu-ray. Some things just don't and shouldn't go on Blu-ray as well, or just can't make it on Blu-ray. The print will actually be better on the DVD, in my opinion, and that's what they do here. So just my actually this is the shirt and tie that my mom gave me for Christmas, so I'm wearing that today, by the way. Uh, there's some great stuff. See, now Vinegar Syndrome has some DVD collections that are strictly DVD collections. Now, there were a couple of them that did make kind of a limited edition Blu-ray release. And when Vinegar Syndrome does a limited edition, they do a limited edition. So I always recommend getting in on those. As you guys know, I spoke with Jack Frost recently. That is amazing. It just is amazing the way that was done. Some of the ones that they do on DVD that are strictly for that is they start out with what's called like a drive-in type of collection. So those have like there's a lot of different stuff. You can have like kind of cheesy action films on there. You can have sexploitation. You can end up with like with horror films, with action, with a bunch of different type. When they originally did it, there was also going to be like kind of the hardcore X-rated films as well. But that got moved over, see, because afterwards those became kind of popular and got their own franchise of films. They got their own series called the Peakorama series. Now, the Peakorama series is another series they do that's been extremely popular, ranging anywhere between 2 to 3 films on there. They've been some pretty good sets. Now, has there been a lot of features on these? Not really so much. The features themselves are actually getting these films, and they're still remastered. They're still done amazing. They're not just shoved on DVD. They put some great prints on there. They've recently also started doing, which is kind of a cheesy one. If you watch Cinema Snobs, you're really going to want to grab these. And these are kind of the storefront theater collections. So if you like the really cheesy stuff, you're going to get that. Now, what kind of stuff do they have it there to... so there's 5 pages I went of different DVDs, and a lot more than I actually realized. So I'm just going to mention a few here tonight that I think are worth getting, and ones that I'm personally looking at myself right now. I may not be getting all of these, and I probably won't be. I'm going to limit it to about probably 4 to 5 titles for this sale. I do want to have kind of the WTF moment, and I love these type of films. As you guys know, I love exploitation, and I can talk about it ad nauseum. So let's get right into this and talk about these films here. So first off, the one that I know I 100% am getting is Dracula Sucks. You've heard me talk about this one before. Dracula Sucks was a film that was done like with a softcore version and a more adult one. Now, don't be fooled though. Dracula Sucks is definitely not the hardcore porn film that you would expect. Even its sex scenes are most of them, aside from like some really inserted ones, are kind of like more of the softer core, like lighter variety. Yes, there are some hardcore X-rated scenes in like one version of the film. There are two versions. There's a softer version of the film there as well, but you get a director's cut. And Dracula Sucks is a really fun, fantastic film, but it is a batshit crazy film, and the different versions that have been out there have been kind of all over the place. Jamie Gillis, I think, does a great job as in his version of Dracula. Reggie Nalder, of course, who played the vampire in Salem's Lot, and the very creepy-looking vampire, actually gets to play Van Helsing here. There's some cool stuff on here as well. The movie Dracula Sucks actually has a commentary on here. There are two versions of the film, and I'm frightened to like check the back of it to see what else is there, because I know that there's just going to be some like adult stuff down there. So I'm just going to see if they have it listed down below. So we got director's cut of Dracula Sucks. It's a 2-disc set, alternate Lust at First Bite edit, which has 40 minutes of alternate footage, which is almost like a different ending completely. It's a different type of film. We got a commentary with actor and director Bill Marigold. Return to Castle Hill featurette with producer Darren Marshak and Bill Marigold. Original theatrical trailer and a German art gallery. So there's definitely some decent stuff on there. I've been wanting to kind of like pull the trigger and get Dracula Sucks for a while. It's one I saw in my youth, and it's one that I know is going to be a big one for me personally. I do like vampire films. I did get Kim Dracula's great love during the last sale, and I was very excited about that. Here's one I may not grab this time, but it is a really cool curio that you should be aware of. It's one of the drive-in collections, and they have some awesome stuff. Now, this is a weird one, because this is kind of, one of them really doesn't fit in with what you'd expect from Vinegar Syndrome. It's called it's In Search of Bigfoot and Cry Wilderness. Now, here's the thing. In Search of Bigfoot pretty much is kind of what you'd expect in kind of like the Bigfoot genre of exploitation films that were done at the time. You've got like the Boggy Creek and all that type of thing, kind of trying to make itself off as a pseudo documentary type of thing, and it does a good job entertaining and being like exactly what you expect it to be. Now there's Cry Wilderness. Now here's the really cool thing: Cry Wilderness is a kids film. It actually is a fairly decent kids film. If I remember it correctly, and I'm pretty sure I do. You guys can you can school me if you've seen the film more recently and I'm not remembering it correctly, but I'm pretty sure that's about a kid that finds that he befriends Bigfoot, and the Bigfoot kind of helps him. So obviously we're looking at a very different double feature for Vinegar Syndrome, and that's fairly decent. You got your kind of like, if you got one to kind of look more the horror documentary, kind of the cheesy type. Plus you got one of the kid types that you can probably put on. It's probably going to be one of the only Vinegar Syndrome films you're ever going to be put on with the family and to actually sit down and watch. So just to let you know, that one is a thought there, especially if you guys want like something for you, something for the family. It's part of their driving collection. They do amazing jobs with the driving collection, I gotta be honest. And yeah, In Search of Bigfoot, a documentary of a team of Bigfoot enthusiasts done back in 1975. So just really fun to watch. And the young boy befriends Bigfoot, who instructs the boy to venture to the wilderness to save his father from impending danger. So yeah, it is kind of like a kid's film there. Next up is a really batshit crazy film. I'm not going to lie to you. I was really upset when I found out that this one came out on Blu-ray as a limited edition. I missed out on it. But I'm definitely not going to miss out on the DVD edition of this. I love these kinds of films. And they are the type that I really watch a lot of. I really get into. And you guys know I like movies like Nightmare Weekend and stuff like that, so you know the kind of crazy stuff I like. Runaway Nightmare is right up that alley. It is just such a insane film that it has to be. You can't imagine it not being in my collection if you've watched any of my videos, especially any of my recent videos. So Runaway Nightmare immediately got put into the cart for when that sale starts. And all these are running at like decent prices too. We'll talk about that in a second as well. Like I think maybe $18 for and this is before the sale starts. Is like, well, actually for I think 27 for like the big sets, but $18 for some of the more higher and like the newer ones. When with the DVDs going for as little as $9 to $10 to $11. So, and this is before the 30% put on. So it's gonna be some pretty cool stuff. Next up is one that I strongly debated on, and I'm not sure if I'm going to get it this time, but I may grab it next time, and it is Lust for Freedom. It's one that I do want to have because I do want to review it on my channel, and I want to be reviewing movies like this. Some really fun, cheesy, crazy stuff. And this is one of these like women in prison, revenge, exploitation ones, and it does have trauma connections. It actually, I think Lloyd Kaufman has something to do with this one here. If you watch the trailer, don't watch it with kids because there's some nudity in there, but it's fun, and there is a trailer actually linked onto the Vinegar Syndrome website. I feel like I'm becoming that Vinegar Syndrome guy right now, but it's just that the company has got me very excited about a lot of their titles, and these sales are really helping out to expand what I've gotten from what I've bought in the last little while, and just the type of films that I'm actually going for. It's a nice marriage made in heaven that this is what I'm starting to collect right now for the first part of the new coming year, and they have such an expansive library of it. So it's going to be interesting to see what titles I do manage to get from them and other companies as well. I know there's companies like Grinders Releasing, there's Vinegar Syndrome. I'd love to have some Vestron Video as well, but those are too expensive. I can't get Vestron Video here in Canada. They just cost too much. Down the road, hopefully. Or hey, any of my viewers want to send Vestron Video Blu-ray my way, much appreciated, because those things are expensive as hell. Here in Canada, they cost over $50 and $60. Just saying. So I don't have a Patreon, not yet anyway. I've thought about that to actually get some funding here, but I will accept movie donations. Just saying. If that seems too desperate, let's be honest, this is not exactly going to make me a ton of money, so I love film. That's where we'll go with that. The next one is a really interesting one. I don't know a lot about it. It's called A Saint, a Woman, a Devil. Now, it just intrigued me. Remember that classic film, Three Faces of Eve? Did you ever watch that and say, oh, what if this was an adult film? I wonder how that would go. Well, A Saint, a Woman, a Devil answers that question of, hey, what happens if Three Faces of Eve is suddenly an adult film? That intrigues me. I'm not going to lie. It's not something I'm going to grab this time around because there's so many others that I don't have. But it is one that definitely is in my radar for the future. I don't mind an adult film here or there, especially these type of adult films. See, if I'm going to buy a film that is of the adult nature, of the adult variety, for instance, then I want something back in this era of adult cinema, when there was a story, when you could get soft and hard cuts of films, so that if I don't feel like watching an adult version of a film, like if I don't feel like seeing a bunch of hardcore nudity or sex sequences, I can watch the soft versions as well. And some of these have that. And I'll be getting to one of those in a second, one that I do consider an actual good film with a decent storyline. And let's do that one right now, because I think that that's kind of a good segue. A movie called Sex World, and I know what you're thinking. Sex World, that's off the radar right away, because that's maybe not your thing. Sex World was brought out around the time, I'm going to say, when Westworld, not the TV series that you see now, but the actual original Michael Crichton film was done. Sex World has, as many different adult stars in it, but none are probably more prolific, in my opinion, than Kay Parker, who would do the Taboo films as well, and a bunch of others. Actually, Kay Parker, I think, has a part in Dracula Sucks, if I remember it correctly. Um, I just have a thing for Kay Parker. I do like that actress, and she just has a very natural uh, look about her. She's very real, and the story of Sex World has these like guests that coming onto this coming to this place where you have different types of kind of in a kind of uh, they want to like shed their inhibitions. You want to get away. They have like certain hangups and certain kinds of fears. There's like relationships that are kind of on the rocks, and this Sex World place is kind of a way to indulge into the fantasies and get over things that they really like need to address in their lives and their relationships. Pretty deep and pretty heavy there, but they do it in a very entertaining way. Now, the Blu-ray of this, there is a Blu-ray of Sex World, and it's the hardcore edition. It's the X-rated one of that, and that's great. Now, there was a limited edition that had both versions on it, both the hardcore and the softcore version. Like I say, I do like to see some of these films, and I found that Sex World has a good enough story that I'm down with watching what some people may consider like a cut version or a soft version with some alternate footage of the film rather than watching the hardcore version all the time. I don't, I want to feel more comfortable sometimes just watching just a regular version. And what the DVD has that the Blu-ray doesn't have, uh, it's got both versions. It has the alternate R-rated, the soft cut of the film, and that really impressed me. I didn't buy the Blu-ray because I wanted the soft cut of the film, and I was looking around to see if I could actually find it somewhere, like see if I could find the limited edition Blu-ray. I haven't been able to come across that, but this one here has a video interview with actress Kay Parker, who I'm very interested in hearing and what she's doing now, and Joy Silvera, who's done a lot of these type of films, and I probably haven't seen since I used to watch adult films back when I was younger, because hey, I was a teenager with hormones and I watched these type of things. An interview with still photographer Joel Sussman, two theatrical trailers, and the alternate soft cut. So that really interests me. So the Blu-ray is missing that, but the DVD has it. So if you can get in and get Sex World with both cuts of the film for $15.98, that's before the 30% is taken off. That's pretty cool, in my opinion. Anyway, that does really excite me, and that does change. I thought I knew exactly what I was getting. I was going to just grab 4 or 5 titles on this sale, but this is a game changer for me. This is going to make me think about what I want. Next up is another driving collection I want to mention to you. That is Death Force, which is kind of a cheesy blaxploitation film, revenge film, kind of fun, and vampire hookers. And most of you probably should know, or if you've been watching my channel, if you like exploitation films, you probably know the movie Vampire Hookers. It's a John Carradine film, actually. John Carradine, who in his later years probably didn't meet a script he didn't like. But that being said, it is a fun film. I've always liked this film. It's one that I used to rent on VHS a lot. It was probably cut to pieces when I got it, and it's not an adult film. And I don't let the vampire hookers thing just sway you. It is a John Carradine film, but it's a vampire film. There's nudity, of course. There'll be probably a ton if I remember correctly. But it's a fun little film, and it's just a little crazy and a little different. I swear you, when I was watching the film first, you see the 2 sailors come out, and I felt like I just accidentally put in a Swedish erotica because the way that they were dressed. I expected to see John Holmes and Aunt Peg come around the corner anytime, but no, it was actually a cool vampire little film with John Carradine, and he's hamming it up the way that he does so well. It's a blast from the past for me, and it's a decent double feature. And the Death Force one, I'm also very interested in checking out. Now, Storefront Theater Collection Volume 2. There's 2 collections. They're both 3-disc sets. They both have I think 12 movies on them. Now, that's 12 movies. Now, here's the thing. These are 12, there's no bones about it, adult films. Some are more adult than others. Some have some more softer stuff, but some of them are more hardcore films. That being said, we're talking about some of these films are back in the 60s and early 70s, and they're very different. There's storylines with a lot of these films. It's very different. It's very cheesy. If you're a fan of Brad, the cinema snob, if you watch his stuff, then you've probably seen some of these movies actually show up on reviews of his. I'm sure that he probably, if he doesn't have, he probably has these sets. I'm not gonna lie. He probably does have these sets, so, and he probably has the movies on their own too. He probably has people that sent movies to him like this. Uh, and just Storefront Theater Collection. Both volumes are really great, but volume 2 really interests me because that's the bizarre art one, and that has a lot of different genre stuff, from like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde type of films to giallo style, like kind of adult offerings, to just some very different stuff. I think the last of the Driving Classics collection that I got to mention here, Driving Collection, is the Executioner Part 2 and Frozen Scream. Now, both of these are done by like a producer like Renee Harmon, and she's like she makes some different films. Executioner Part 2, just so you know, if you're looking, say, well, I don't have Part 1, nobody does. There actually isn't a Part 1 to this film. There is a movie called The Executioner. It has nothing to do with this film here. This Executioner Part 2 is actually, the Part 2 is really put on it to get people to kind of come in and watch it. Because, hey, if it's popular enough to have a second film, I guess I should check it out. Well, gee, I wonder where that first film is. Well, that first film was never made. It very much is in the line of, it wants to be in the line of Robert Ginty's The Exterminator series. Because Exterminator 1 and 2 are extremely popular films. They rented very well on DVD. Sorry, DVD, on VHS. And so the Executioner Part 2 was kind of with Chris Mitchum, by the way, Robert Mitchum's son. It's kind of a no-brainer for them to do. And it pretty much really is a no-brainer. It is a kind of crazy film. It is wacky. So if you've seen things like Dangerous Man or Miami Connection, you're kind of in that territory right here with this film. So if those movies kind of ring true to you, like ring something, oh, I've heard of that. I've heard of Daily Prey. I've heard of Dangerous Man. I've heard of Miami Connection. It's kind of like that. It's not like, we're not talking like high quality filming here. We're talking about some very different stuff, and it's a lot of like WTF moments in this film. The same thing with the second one. The second one, actually, I would consider, to be honest with you, probably a higher quality film than the first one, though it is crazy and insane, just on so many levels. And Renee Harmon is actually in this one more. And it's Frozen Scream. Really different. There's kind of amalgamation of different stuff there. There's a cult-like part to it. Part of it reminded me of Death Dream. Just some really decent stuff. I definitely want to have this one in my collection, so that looks like one I'm going to be grabbing there as well. Now here's one that I've already got in my collection, but I wanted to shine a spotlight on it because this is one that pretty much gets passed over a lot, and that is The Cutthroats. I dug this film. I really did. And I mean, like, this is from the guy that made Grave the Vampire. And if you've seen Grave the Vampire with Michael Taki, then you know exactly the type of film that was. This isn't Grave the Vampire. There's some more adultish themes in here. It's a kind of a war film. It's a group of men that are greedy. There's a bunch of different stuff, that kind of crazy stuff. And that's the thing. You get a lot of this really crazy stuff. And stuff that I really enjoy. So I'm not going to lie to you there. I did get that one. It was the first of the Vinegar Syndrome ones when I got my last package, the last time around. If you guys watched my videos then. It was the first one I watched. I was really interested in seeing it. And it is a limited edition. There's only so many of them. So here's the thing. It's been limited edition for a while. They haven't sold out of it because it's DVD as opposed to like a limited edition Blu-ray. But here's the thing. Once it's gone, it's gone. Vinegar Syndrome this isn't like Code Red where you repress it. And this is not a knock on Code Red. I'm glad they repress and do whatever they want to do. When Vinegar Syndrome's limited editions are gone, they're usually gone. And if they do come back at all, they come back in a different format with less stuff on it. Or not at all. For instance, when Sex World was done, there was a limited edition with a bunch of features on the Blu-ray edition. When another Blu-ray came out, they took the features off of it and just gave you the film itself, really. They did have a DVD edition with some features on it, but here's the thing. That Blu-ray limited edition with all those features and the alternate cut of the film and stuff like that was gone. Once you miss out, you miss out. I'm going to get Runaway Nightmare, the DVD edition of it. The Blu-ray edition of Run Nightmare, that's no longer around. You would have to go on eBay or something to hope to find something like that. Once it's printed, it's printed. It's not coming back. So if it's a limited edition that you want, if it's something you're kind of thinking about getting, I do recommend that you get it, because you don't want to be somebody that's down the road. And I've done this so many times. Oh, I'll wait to get that. That'll be okay. I'll just wait on it. And then later on, it's like $200 or something like that. Some crazy thing. Some like scalpers put it up like crazy. But I dug it. I thought it was a cool film. It's definitely, we're not talking about high art here. We're talking about fun, cheesy exploitation. And it does fill all those things. It does have, like, got the blood, it's got the nudity, it's got kind of the cheesiness. The story's kind of decent. I like the story. There's some acting that's decent, and some acting that you're like, okay. Uh, and that's what I really, really enjoy about this one here. Now, just to give you guys like a kind of a rundown, there is a lot of films. And obviously, there's a lot of stuff that I can't show because even though it's kind of blurry, you're not seeing a lot there, because there are like different types of stuff here. But let's just go over this thing overall and just give you an idea like what I think of the some of this stuff here. Now, obviously, like there's some of the newer stuff like The Beyond Shame is a Sika film. Now, Sika was a very famous adult star back in my day, back in the 80s. So if you don't know who she is, well, of course, I understand. And there's actually, I think there's a documentary done with Sika where the guy was kind of searching her out because she was such a famous porn star and she kind of like just disappeared off the radar for a while. Luckily, that documentary had a happy ending as opposed to like some where there's tragic endings. Like, unfortunately, like the short life of porn actress Savannah. We have like some documentary stuff here. A three documentary set with Alex Terenza, of course, who did Pretty Peaches. He did like Innocents Abroad, Weed, and Sexual Encounter Group. That's kind of a different one that does interest me, but you can't grab everything, so I'm just going to grab some. The Peakorama series, that's adult films usually around the 70s or 80s era, and the kind of rescue and save and remaster this adult cinema. Look at them if that's your type of thing, and there's going to be definitely some stuff there that you might like. I just got to go grab the door there. I think my cat needs to be fed, and I'll be right back. Hey there, so I'm back, and I just noticed that I had a message pop up on my on the exploitation top, kind of 25 exploitation Blu-rays that you should have. That asked why there wasn't any black exploitation in there. Well, when I did the exploitation one, I specifically kept black exploitation out of the mix because I really love black exploitation, and as my better half also really loves that genre as well. So that will be getting its very own special list. So just keep watching out for that. Now let's get back to the sale. I'm very excited. There's like one called Sex and Comics. So that one is. And that's actually thinking this. When I first saw it, I said, "Oh, is this a documentary about like comics and like sex and like in different comics?" It's not actually. It's kind of an adult film, and it's got kind of like a comic strip type of backdrop to it. They actually have kind of like comic strip style set pieces there. Now, what's really cool about it as well, there's also like a 45-minute short there with different adult cartoons done throughout the years, like actual adult cartoons from like the 20s up to like the 60s or 70s. So I've never seen that before. That does interest me. As a feature on its own, as you guys know, I do collect cartoons, and I would like to have something like that in my collection, something too. That definitely wouldn't go with the kids' cartoon collection, but I do like cartoons and all types, so that one does interest me. Now they do have some other films here, so as well. Now when they do have adult films, and they do have like different type films, it doesn't always lean towards, and it was a brave and like interesting choice for them to do, just because of the type of films that they were doing at the time. But they deal with like with different like once as well, like there's like films that deal with also like homosexuality and bisexuality, which is really cool. At least that's not brave now in today's world. In 2016, it's kind of norm. But they do deal with some of those as well. Like there's a film called Both Ways, which I don't think I've ever seen, but it does have an interesting plot. It's about a man who is who's married, and he takes on a lover that's not female, that's actually a male, and it kind of like gets ready to kind of like to tear his world apart. Uh, don't know a lot about the film, and I just really recently like just saw on some interesting information on there tonight. But I got to be interested as the story goes, as the plot goes. It does. I'm not sure how the execution is. Don't know. I haven't seen the film, but I got to admit, it is kind of an interesting uh, plot there. There's a whole lot when the Peakorama stuff comes out and the All Night there. There's a bunch of like driving classics. So if you missed out on the Crypt of the Living Dead, House of the Living Dead one, uh, I managed to grab that one because in their last year's sale, basically or was the sale earlier this year? I think it was last year's sale. They actually found some copies that was still around, kicking around, so I was able to get in on that limited edition, what was still there. But if you didn't, that's okay. You can get the DVD edition of it as well on here in the Driving Classic. So that's actually pretty cool. Uh, there's a few there, kind of different stuff. Uh, there's ones like Revenge of the Zombies, Teenage Zombies, uh, which I don't know a lot about. I don't remember that one that well. I'm going to try and not hit on anything adult here. So I'm being very, very careful to not kind of like do anything that's going to like kind of anger or flag anything. Uh, Sometimes Aunt Martha does dreadful things. That one is supposed to be pretty good. I haven't seen that myself either. Now the Strangler, I don't know a lot about that one actually. Interesting cover on it. Uh, and just some really, really different stuff. So there you go. That's just a few of the kind of different films that they have out there. There's like some really different films. You're gonna get some sexploitation. You're gonna get some adult films like that are hard X's and some softer core stuff that's kind of a softer film as well. You're gonna get some really cool exploitation films, whether they be action exploitation, black exploitation, sexploitation, or just general like wacky films all like through and through. Even some comedies and stuff there, and some dramas. You're going to get a lot of different choices. And here it is. It's a DVD only sale. But don't let that dissuade you from getting some really cool exploitation films that aren't going to make it to Blu-ray and are in fantastic remastered condition here on their own. These films deserve a really good home, and there's some really awesome stuff there. Make sure that your collection has some drive-in collection DVDs in there, as well as just look at some of the other stuff that you think is going to be you. The drive-in collection has a wealth and kind of a breadth of like different stuff that you're probably going to find a drive-in collection DVD that is going to suit you. You're probably going to, if you're not into the adult films, then it's not going to sway you. But there are some decent ones here. And commentary, I love to get one like I mentioned on the last one time. I love to get a good adult film that I know has a good commentary on it, that's actually talking about what they went through to make those films back in the day, because they were not easy films to make. They were getting, there were doors getting knocked down, they were getting arrested, there was, all stuff went behind the scenes. People just see at one aspect of it and they think how they're like exploited or drugs and all this stuff. And there's so much more when you're looking into the history of that. There is a history to films, a good and bad, and an in between, a gray area that doesn't get talked about all the time. But I think that commentaries and stuff like that should delve into that, and often it does. So that I really want to be able to grab something like that. Hopefully there are some of those in the DVD, because there are some DVDs there like the Peakorama ones. You're not going to see much about a trailer on there, or maybe some deleted or alternate scenes, alternate credit sequence. But on some of the ones there, like maybe like Dick Cherry Hollywood Star or something like that, you're going to actually probably see some features. I haven't checked on that one yet, so that's just because the picture is up there on the screen there that I actually mentioned that one. But there's some decent stuff here. There's some in the Driving Classics collection. Like you have ones there that are like triple packs, so like Don Davis collections. Um, there's just some really, really being very careful here. Really different stuff. Uh, I personally want to get Dracula Sucks. I think that's going to be like a really good addition to my collection. It's something that's, one, is from my childhood. Two, there's some great features on there. Three, I like Jamie Gillis, and I think that he could have made an actual acting career outside of the adult film industry. But then again, he was, I guess, like Peter North. He was along the lines of like, I'm making money to do this. I can't complain. Uh, that's what I imagine that he probably said. I do really, I'm interested in really checking out some of the Peakorama stuff that is out there. I'm not sure if I can get any this time around, but there is definitely some stuff there. Runaway Nightmare is a must. I don't have that in my collection, and honestly, kind of a shame I don't have that in my collection, because it's just a fun, cool, wacky, different film. Uh, There's some really different stuff. Lust for Freedom is another one that don't get it this time. It's obviously on the short list of films that I want to get. It's something that I want to be able to get and watch, enjoy myself, and then review for you guys because I know it would make a perfect thing for like spoiler theater or WTF moments type of thing. In one of my podcasts as well when I'm watching with Matthew, just some really different cool stuff. Uh, there's some really different stuff here, and there's even some kind of cool semi-classic stuff here as well. The Candidate actually with Ted Knight and Manny Van Doren is here. And it's part of like a double feature with Johnny Gunman. I don't know a lot about Johnny Gunman, but I can tell you that The Candidate was, kind of a political satire type film with Ted Knight. The Ted Knight from Mary Tyler Moore, and of course from Too Close for Comfort, The Tonight Show. I grew up with that guy. Well, not personally, but I watching him on TV. Uh, as if you couldn't figure that one out. Just some really different stuff. One called The Blue Hour that's like kind of like three kind of like adult films, like they're more artsy. And the cover itself, like just when you go and look, just go look at the cover. It looks really different and really unique. It's a beautifulness to that cover that I just found really, really interesting. I like the driving collection. I have a feeling that once I grab a couple of these, I'm going to probably grab a few down the road because yeah, there's some really decent stuff on them, and I'll be right back. There once was a company called BCI, and there's a reason I'm mentioning that because when I thought of the Driving Classics collection that they've got there, Classics, so the Driving Collection, it something stuck in my head, and I trying to remember like this reminds me of something, and it reminds me there was an exploitation cinema series that BCI put out when they were around. BCI is unfortunately the company that's gone to the wayside now. Is no more. But there was stuff like this, and this is a proud like addition in my collection that I have, by the way. Is Mausoleum and Blood Song. You guys have probably seen this in one of my earlier videos. When I do like a exploitation films for DVD, which I am going to do, and this has inspired that, by the way. This one will probably be within that was there. So there you see. So think of that. So now this one goes a little bit more. This one gives you like an outer commentary as well on the Mausoleum. I really got to watch that again sometime soon. But it's kind of like a spiritual successor to the. So if you got any exploitation cinema double features, kind of that type of thing, I think of the Drive-In collection as kind of a spiritual successor to that. So I just wanted to put that out there. I was like in the middle of like talking to you guys, and I just had that kind of that brain like that's what I think about when I look at the Driving collection. That's kind of like kind of what I get when looking at stuff like Death Force and Vampire Hookers, like Bloodthirst and The Thirsty Dead. There's another like kind of a horror one set there, and then they have like this exploitation ones like The Sexualist and Wendy's Place. So there's all kinds of different stuff that you can like find yourself looking at, and there'll be ones there that have like different versions of films, like game show models as another completely different edit of the film, as a completely different name as well. Just hit the last page here, and there's again like this drops off a lot of the comes off a lot of like the different like Driving collections here. So the Dungeon of Harrow double feature with Death by Invitation, one that you guys probably saw but probably haven't seen as good a master done of it before. Is Anatomy of a Psycho. That's one that a lot of people saw kind of on lower budget, kind of lower quality DVD sets. Now you're going to get to see it in good condition alongside a movie called The Lonely Sex, which isn't what you think it is. But definitely check some of this out. So here you go, guys. There's a Vinegar Syndrome sale coming up. As usual, I'm really excited about it. I'm getting ready to check it out because I am waiting for this sale to hit so I can basically say, okay, the Vinegar Syndrome sale is here. It's the DVD one this time. I'll load it up on some Vinegar Syndrome Awesome Blues. As you guys can see, Mom got me for Christmas. Ian got me some for Christmas as well. You guys know I'm a huge exploitation fan. You know I'm a huge fan of Vinegar Syndrome. So you know I'm going to be going out there and grabbing some of this as well. And I do recommend that you do as well too. Remember, Blu-ray isn't... If you just collect Blu, you're missing the whole scope because you're not collecting cinema, you're just collecting a format. Don't be somebody that just collects one format. Be somebody that collects the movies and the type of films that you like. And there's a lot of stuff here that if you like exploitation, it just has been in your collection, and it doesn't matter what format it's in. This time it's in DVD, and it's in glorious remastered DVD. So thank you guys for watching. I am Aaron, the movie prof, exploitation Aaron, whatever you want to name me. Just don't come late for these exploitation movies because I love them so very much. It's a WTF time coming up on this channel, and we're going to get a lot more of this. I'll get into this as when the sale hits. I'll come back. I'll do another video telling you guys about a little more about the sale. Maybe I'll look at some of these more in depth. Look at some get some more information on it, and help you guys guide you through the wave of fun exploitation, adult cinema, however you want to collect it. Just have some fun stuff. Have a good time. I am Aaron, and I am actually I'm ready for tea right now. I was going to say the old catchphrase "I am out of here," which I do use a lot. Did use a lot earlier on in my videos, but right now I'm excited. I want to look through the site. I'm going to go look through the site with a nice cup of tea. So it's time for tea. So here we go with the after credit sequence, which you guys are probably pretty much used to by now if you actually managed to stay through the whole video. And if you do, kudos to you, thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe this. I do kind of give, I guess I give a lot of like kudos to companies like Vinegar Cinema Films, and I do appreciate it whenever anybody actually kind of like shouts me out to them as well, because here's the, I do not get anything from any of the companies. I never have. I buy like stuff myself with my own hard-earned money, uh, and every once in a while I'll have a friend or a viewer that'll send me something, which I highly appreciate, and that goes to a good home and a good collection, and that's really awesome. I've had some good friends that have actually. I have a good friend right now, James, that actually is sending me a couple things. One I know by accident, and one that I don't. So I'm very excited about the one that I do know. I'll tell you that much right now. It's actually a release, a Blu-ray release that actually has 3 films on it, and it's from Grindhouse, and I'm a big fan of the Grindhouse stuff. They do some amazing stuff. But I just wanted to like to put that out there. Like, you know, I do appreciate it when you comment on the videos. I do try to comment back. I appreciate every like that I get. Anybody that shares these. It is not. It never goes unnoticed, and it never goes like it is a heartfelt, thank you that I have to give when it comes to this. I've made 1,700 of these, and I'm fairly like I'm a low radar type of guy. I'm not high up there with like some of the big guys or anything like that. But I try to do my best and hopefully entertain you guys along the way, and hopefully we can all learn something from each other. That's kind of what I wanted to do here. When I came into this, eventually as I was going through, I had planned to do different like kind of almost like when you see like Channel Awesome, where there's going to be different characters that I was going to do. But here's the thing. I have an intense passion for what I am talking about. I hope to God that's coming through with you guys. And that does, although acting was a thing that I used to do many, many moons ago, I kind of can't with this. I did one. There's guys like Cinemasochists who I'd really like to be able to do stuff like that. But when I get to talking about the stuff, the passion that I feel for this here, I think anyway, is coming through, and that stopped me from being able to do any type of characters that I wanted to do. I'm able to like get some more like loose and get more kind of humorous when it comes to, especially when I have people to bounce off of. So when I've got my kids here and stuff like that, but still I cannot completely understand why the guys nicknamed me the Prof, because I do like these. I watch these films, I study them, and I drink them in, and I'm proud of that. It's something that I enjoy doing. I've looked towards like how do I keep the channel going when I can't buy like a lot when things when times are tough, when things are get a little bit leaner. I haven't yet tried or wanted to do anything like Patreon wise. It's been something that I've thought about, and you know, there's people like before when people put on a Patreon or did anything like that, they said, well, you know, this guy's selling out to what that to what they used to do. But no, we actually are spending a lot of time trying to do this stuff here to make it like for you know, for the people that want to watch. So like for and I even hate to use the words fans or viewers, like, because I do get like a connection and a rapport back and forth with people. My channel is, luckily, it's small enough that I can do that. That I'm able to go back and talk and like comment on like when somebody sends a comment, I'm able to comment back. And like sometimes even mention it within the video itself, or just give the person a shout out for some of the stuff that they did, and like talk about other like smaller channels like me, and even talk about some of the bigger channels as well. So I don't think I'm going to go the Patreon way. I'm not going to lie to you. If I do appreciate some, you know, if you send me something sometime, I appreciate it. I've done like, if you're a budding filmmaker and you want to send me something to review, I'll review it. I do that as well, so I'll do my best. I'll promise you an honest review, though. That's the thing. I did like, there was a young filmmaker that he made a few films, and he sent me like 2 or 3 of them, and I did do the reviews like on how, like, what I really thought of the films. So that was kind of interesting. I kind of want to watch this now, you know, but it's kind of late. But it's kind of cool, and I did just notice that there's an audio commentary with Star Bobby Breezy in here. In Mausoleum, and I haven't seen Mausoleum in a while, or neither have I seen like Blood Song in a while. Blood Songs, you know, it's a film with like Frankie Avalon as the killer. You're not going to see that every day. Donna Wilkes is in this one here as well. Who knows? So, exploitation cinema. I'm all about the exploitation cinema right now. I love it. Thank you guys for watching. Like I mentioned before, you know what time it is. It is time for tea. Have a good night.